Well, hello and welcome.
Hello,
Hello.
everybody.
Welcome to the Cockatoodle Sanctuary, the Chloe Sanctuary. Uh, it's been a wild one
Not
already.
again.
It's been a wild one. I already had to deal with one big pink bird deciding to rip one of the ropes down. So while Cecil's hanging there, he's starting to slump on the rope and look at me like, "Fix it, just fix it."
Because he's not going to fly away, so he depends on you.
Yep. Oh well. He'll only fly when he has to. That's about, and that's only when he's scared. So, right, Cecil? It's funny though. Jasmine's the only Moluccan here who has accommodated herself to the water bottle. The other two are both saying, "Nope, I'm not going to do it." So,
Well,
with
Parrot's
sugar,
being stubborn. We've not heard that one before.
yeah, that's a fact. He was the first one who started it, and that was before I was really teaching them to use the bottle. Within a couple of days, he had it figured out, and he was drinking from it like there's no tomorrow. Right, Bob? Yeah, we're going to talk about Spa Day, because everybody knows how out in the wild, uh, every week or so, a van pulls up and all the birds come down to get their nails and beaks trimmed. You notice that? You see the videos of that? No, you don't, because there must be some mysterious secret to why they have to have that done in captivity. So that's what we're going to talk about later. Right, Bob? Ah,
Shall we say hello to some cat friendos? So we've got Jocelyn and Calvin, Spirit Matter, Falcon Sue, and Angel's Life. So hello, everyone. Nice to see you.
Hello.
hello. Wing hugs. Oh, what's going on with the camera now? That's acting weird. Hello.
We are now you're upside down on YouTube. Wait, let's see. Now it's back to normal. That was
Yeah, I
fun.
didn't do I didn't do that. It did that on its own. I hadn't even turned the phone, so I don't know what that was all about.
That was interesting. Now, Cecil is probably not so happy you have that rattle ball and running around Dawn.
Yeah, he was
Probably is
he
sitting
was
next to your side and making defending gestures.
he was doing that with one of those plastic rails yesterday with the holes in them. He always bends one side of it and he tries to break off the other side so it has sharp points. That's his
Mm.
mode of operation. So better with the ball. He's not going to hurt anybody with it much.
So after we've introduced the chatters, maybe we can introduce to them the birds.
What birds? I don't know. There's no birds in
I
here.
have no idea. Do you see any bird?
Yeah, we got Cecil today, and behind me is Bob. I'll try to turn the camera that way.
Hi, Bob.
Bob.
Oh, he even
Yeah.
waved to the viewers. What a polite bird.
Well done, Bob. Good boy.
Bob, you something else, And then there's Lucy, half asleep up there.
Hmm.
And Sugar and Jasmine. Thank you. It's just what I
Oh,
needed.
the auntie's back there. So no matter.
No, I know he wouldn't come out today. He took a nosedive as soon as I asked him. So
Hmm.
he was out here yesterday having a good time, and nobody bothered him. But today he won't come out. So with his twisted pelvis, I give him a break, but I won't let him go more than 3 days without coming out. So
Yeah, well, every other
usually
day is fine.
it's pretty wet much how it works most of the time. Every other day. Sometimes they'll come out several days in a row, but I don't count on it. KK would love to come out, but Bob doesn't like any bird that wants to sit on my lap, so
Oh, Bob, are you jealous?
he is a jealous boy. Well, when you've been abandoned 8 times in the first 11 years of your life, you kind of get that way, I think. Right, Bob? Bob? You give kisses? Bob, kisses? Oh, good boy. And Pippa. There's Pippa. Good Pip, so we have two Triton troubles out here.
Well, it's like Pip Pip's no trouble at all right now.
Pip is such a good girl sitting back there.
Yeah, you
And
should
it's
have seen
funny
her on the.
how close the aunties sit in the other corner. It's like they're plotting something.
You should have seen Pippa on the way out. She was
Mm.
trying to wrench herself from my body. She wanted to go flying around for a while. She would come back if the hawks didn't get her, but
Mm. Better not, Pip.
that's the way. Around here too, even if she flew away as a ways, you could still see the aviary. So she wouldn't in the house.
Mhm.
She'd come back,
But
but I'm not.
I think that's a problem since she never actually knew the aviary from the perspective of being so far away. So maybe she, when she's stressed out, she's just not recognizing it and panicking. So that's always a risk.
Cecil, don't break the ball apart, you big toad. You can't play with it that way. I think I'm going to have to. I think that material is ABS, but I'll have to check. And if it is, I'll get some ABS cement and cement them together so he can't do that anymore. Because you give him a ball, and usually within 15 minutes, and it's in pieces. And so it's $5 gone. 5 minutes is the way they work. Out here a little longer. It takes a little longer before he starts tearing them apart. They should glue them together too, but they don't. Not glue, but cement. Glue wouldn't work, but for those of you who build toys, the difference between glue and cement is glue adheres to something, okay? So if you put two pieces of paper, you glue them together, it's the glue that bonds them together. Cement doesn't work that way. It literally melts things together. So if you cement that plastic together, he's not going to pull it apart. But now he's taking another section off. You know, you can be replaced by a fake cockatoo. You know that.
Hmm.
That yeah, that toy was new when I brought it out here. What, half an hour ago? He's only been playing with it for maybe 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, Mr. Destructo.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way I was when I was a kid. They'd give me a toy, I'd take it apart to see how it worked.
Yeah, that's the thing when you are a kid and taking everything apart you can get to, like, oh, look at these video recorders, and then you upset your parents.
Hmm.
So can you put it back together? Well, that's
That's a hard plastic, so they probably used ABS because PVC can be a real problem. So, but I've got some ABS cement. Once he's done destroying that toy, I'll go get one of the old ones. I'll see if I can glue it, if I can cement it a couple of pieces together, and if I can do that from here on out, I'll just cement them together. That way, he'll have fun with them a lot longer. After he gets done being mad at me, now he's going to pull that one off. He's getting ready to pull the yellow piece off there, aren't you? You are a strange bird. You are.
well, he needs to stand his ground. I mean, there are so many other bird species out there, Wallackans, tritons, Cecil, and are they all slightly bigger than you?
Thanks. It's just what I wanted, a piece of a toy thrown at me. Hmm.
Good girl.
I guess I could get some multi-cement, some PVC/ABS cement. If it doesn't work when I use the ABS, I'll try the multi-bond cement to see if that works.
Hmm.
Oh, Bob, when you're sitting on my arm, sorry, and I'm trying to hold up the phone, it does get tiring on the arm, just a little bit. You don't weigh that much, but
So in our chat, the chat is discussing April from Parrot Playhouse, and that if wanted to know if we have new information about her, but I said we don't have any new information about her, so we haven't heard
no,
either of her. Of course, we
there
hope
hasn't.
she's well, but we don't know anything, sadly.
Nope, she
Yeah.
hasn't squawked at us at all. So
If there's anyone who does know, then please let us know.
Mm.
yeah, nope. No, it's tough when you're somebody that's caring for birds and you get sick because
I know that's
who
always
can.
a critical situation because where to put the birds?
Well, too, they have their quirks, the things that they need, and they need it. Especially with cockatoos, they have these certain things that they aren't going to function right if they don't get them. And
Yeah.
you're not really familiar with the bird, you can't do it. Like these guys with their medicine. Fortunately, he doesn't need it, but he has a bunch of other needs, and if you don't if you don't deal with those right, he
Mhm.
can bust out of. He's a Houdini. He could bust out of the cage he's in now if he wanted to, and it's a California cage. So. Not to mention the squawking and screaming and stereotypic behavior just because the food doesn't come at the right time. I mean, it's just. I've had to change their mash because they got bored with it. So, and now they're looking at me like, "Where's our food?" But they weren't eating it before. They just got into a rut where they would just leave it alone. So I made some using quinoa and lentils as a base, and then added all kinds of vegetables to it, and then properly steamed everything at the right, the right. I put the harder to cook vegetables in first for the right amount of time, and then added the next and the next until everything was steamed, and sealed them up, and made enough to go 11 days frozen. So, but it's all steamed properly, so it comes out pretty much like I made it. So you can't just cut it up and put it in the refrigerator in the freezer and expect it to go. It may be good when you can take it out. It's not going to be. But, but their attitude is, where's the stuff that used to be here? They still have their edamame and their birdie bread, which they really go for that. Yeah, batch takes 12 bananas, so you get an idea how big the batch is. 12 bananas, a can of pumpkin, uh, a cup of peanut butter, a cup of coconut oil or some other oil. Yep, and on and on. They like it, don't you, Bob? So what is it? I mean, why is it these guys have to be, specially cared for? Um, but in the wild, they don't need their beaks trimmed and they don't need their toenails trimmed. What is the difference, right? Bob, do you know? Does Bob know?
Depends who is asking.
Yeah. Bob is asking, aren't you, Bob? Why do I
When
have to
Bob
have
is
my nails?
asking himself, he knows usually.
Yeah. He doesn't know. He's never been in the wild.
If
Why
the
is it
phone
you have?
people asking him, he doesn't give answers.
Yeah, he'll ask questions, but he doesn't give too many answers, do you, Bob?
Mm.
What are you doing with that?
What a cutie, Bob.
Well, it's not we don't really think about it much, but it's just like you have to trim their beak, and sometimes I mean you only do it when you have to, but and that's if it's going to be a problem for them eating. Um, but their nails have to be trimmed, and the main reason for that is in the wild they're busy. They're foraging, they're chewing, they're grooming, they're breaking some pretty heavy duty seeds. Like they may not be walnuts, but they're as hard to open as a walnut or a my dad always called one called a Brazil nut something else. I was trying to come up with a word other than what my dad called them. But so they crack these things open. That helps to work their beaks, right? They also they rub their beaks against trees, the bark of trees and that kind of thing. Um, they there's rocks. They get on the ground and they run around with rocks, and they use that to that actually helps to chip down their toenails. But all these things in the wild that they don't have, um, and another thing that wears down those nails is some of the rough bark that they just perch on. So just perching and their constant movement, because if you've seen these guys in the wild, they're pretty busy except for their sleepy time. They're moving around a lot. They're on the ground, they're in the trees, they're doing all kinds of things. So, and they're staying healthy because they're getting a lot of exercise. That's also part of it. Something we can't give them in captivity because they can't fly, right? Yeah, if the beaks are overgrowing or they're odd, it's 9 times out of 10 it's vitamin A deficiency, but it could be liver disease, um, a lack of enrichment. They're not. They're just sitting there because they don't have anything to do. They're tired of the Christmas. That looks like a cute toy, but it's just a Christmas ornament because they really can't do anything with it. What are you doing back there? Oh, okay. Sorry, didn't mean to disturb you. I just wanted to see what you were doing since you were poking me in the side, Bob. So, and the perches you have should have some roughness to it. So, Dr. Jenkins suggested that you use 2x4s because they'll chew them up, and then they make their perches, they change shape, so their feet open and close more. Um, and they create a rough surface. If you look at some of them, like Bob's, it looks like he's designed a bridge to go between two cities. I mean, because he's got some sections that are quite thin and some that are thick, and he's working on it all the time. And once he finally breaks it, then I put another 2x4 in and start the process again. So, and that's from Dr. Jenkins of the Avian and Exotic Animal Hospital in San Diego. So, he's been doing this a few years. Um, Also easy to replace because you just get those. They're 2x4 holders basically. That's something that they're called a shoe or a stud shoe, and you just put a piece of wood against the side of the cage, and then you drill these stud shoes in place, and then you drop the wood in. So it's easy. Just mark the outside with whatever the length is, and just cut a piece of 2x4 and drop it in. I know it doesn't come from a manufacturer that says they care about birds, but you have to buy their wood somewhere too, and they're not going into the forest to cut it themselves. Now, if you've got trees that are safe, and you have to look up a list of those. I can't tell you off the top of my head. I know things like birch is okay because that's primarily what I use. But manzanita, Now, manzanita they can't chew up, but the thing about manzanita is if you leave it rough and it gets you have it where it's thick on one side and thin on another, that helps to give them more exercise and keep their foot from being in the same position all the time. So manzanita is good for that. Um, the harder woods are. I have one hardwood perch, for example, like in KK's cage that he uses. He's missing a toe on each foot, so when he needs a little stability, he gets on that perch. But he's got rope perches, and he's got that's the thing. You want some variety. So if you've got a tree that's safe, you can cut some of the branches off and you can put it in the oven for a while. I mean, there's usually you put it in the oven at like 100, 190 degrees, 200 degrees, and just leave it in there for half an hour to get the bugs out of it, that kind of thing. And let them play with that. That helps to work their beaks, so their beaks will stay normal. Keeping the bird active is the main thing. That's one of the main things you got to do. What are you doing? Hi, Bob. Along with their pellets, give them fibrous foods. Broccoli is a good example, but uh, celery. I mean, celery's got not that much food value, but it's fibrous and it's good for them. They like to chew it. And nuts, to a certain degree, if they're in the shell, you have to be careful there, though, because anything like that can get aspergillosis. So you don't want them to be. You have to check. If you buy them, you have to open up a few. Look at the ones that don't look that good and pop them open to make sure there's no mold inside. Um, you can also put them. You can put them in the oven for a while to make sure that any mold's been killed in there. But it's good for their beaks. Walnuts are good, but the problem is if you've got a bird that tends to swallow things. You've seen the bird will swallow little bits of things. You don't want to give them walnuts because when you break a walnut shell, it has a sharp edge to it. Not so bad with almonds. Almonds you don't have to worry about too much, with but they are good. I've got Cecil loves walnuts, and he doesn't swallow them, but I'm still a little nervous about giving them to him because he's a bit of a nutcase. Is your toy done now? Hmm? Is your toy done? I'm not. You can keep playing with it. I'm not telling you not to play with it. There's just not much to play with anymore, right, Bob?
So when you are just ready talking, I can introduce some more chatters. So welcome to Kristen CEO and Kelly Sue Cockatoo, and welcome Sunderbing. And Sunderbing has a question. I'm reading it to you, Don. Hi, just turned in. Do you manicure the birds yourself? Seems like it can be a challenge, and you have a large flock.
Yes, I do. If I actually wanted to get to an avian vet and have them do it, I'd have to pack the birds up and take a 12-hour round trip. So, um, yeah, I do it. I've done it even though when I could get to a vet where I could have had it done, I've learned to do it. I had the vets train me. Um, the Dr. Jenkins and Dr. Young have shown me the best way to do nails and how to do beaks too. I've got one here, KK, who has scissor beaks. So, plus I have Cause, who, for some reason, um, she has one side of her beak growing funny. So, you know, it's something in my case, with this many birds, I have to do it myself. But
Well, you've got 12 birds. If you do one a day, then every 2 weeks, that's each one gets done.
I wish I could make myself do it that way. As it is, I like once a week. Sometimes I'll stretch it to two if I'm really busy. I take them into the there's a bathroom, which is the master bathroom, which has got all the bird stuff in it. So that's where I do their beaks and I do a complete physical to make sure they're okay and do their nails. I've only got three that I have to do the beaks on regularly though. KK, Cause, and Lucy have the biggest beak problems. So occasionally I may have to trim. He'll overgrow the Cecil will overgrow his upper, but his lower never has a problem. So once every 3 months or so, that'll get a little too long. And if it gets too long, it's hard for them to open their beak enough to get food in it. So when it gets to that point, I take care of it. I have to do that with a Romeo about every 6 months, and now that's fun. But he does not like to be manhandled at all. He comes out to be petted, but he's not fond of that being manhandled. Pit pet. Uh, Often when you have those kind of big problems, it's due to malnutrition. But you, you look at trying to get the manila rope out of my hand when you have to hurry up and get a piece of rope hooked up again, which I had to do right here. You tend to get the manila rope stuck in your hand. Best to handle it when you're working like that, grabbing it really hard with gloves. But what are you doing over there? Yeah, at the animal hospital that had her, they used to trim her beak so that she couldn't hurt the poor little clients there that were there to give them money. So her beak is a permanent issue. I have to work the bottom and the top.
So Lisa Banerjee joined us saying, hello, my friends, and she has donated $20 to us. So thank you so much for that, Lisa. And that means you
Yay!
get your little thank you clip for that.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Much appreciated. Right, Bob? Bob says, I'm chewing, I'm chewing. Thank you.
And we had another donation from Thunderwing. So Thunderwing donated $5. So thank you so much for that.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you, Thunderbing.
thank you. Sugar's over there sleeping right now. Her and that's an unusual thing. The two aunties are over there sitting next to each other.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, I would go get a lottery ticket if I did things like that because that's a rare occurrence where they just sit that close to each other and sleep.
They must be plotting.
Looks like they have a meeting back there. Of course, pretending not to have one.
Of course. Lucy's doing here. I'm checking everything out.
That's really sweet. May I read a comment from Kristen?
Of
She's
course.
telling about an avian rescue. She says, I'm kind of sad for the avian rescue here in Tucson. They started to build a new building as the need increased. However, a neighbor took out an injunction to stop the construction. It is zoned out for a rescue.
Yeah, these neighbors are something else sometimes. I know the Lily Sanctuary, which is gone now, but they intentionally were renting a house in a Vietnamese neighborhood because the Vietnamese people revere um, cockatoos as if they were uh, angels or something. I mean, in their culture, they're highly revered. So when they got there, they only had one problem, but the guy wasn't Vietnamese and he moved out. So and after that, they never had another complaint. And they would have like 50 cages out in the back, and then 50 cages inside. And they took the birds out every day, and they'd squawk. They didn't have an aviary outside. They just brought the birds out in cages, and of course they played with them and stuff before. They had a lot of volunteers. I don't know what that's like. I've had a couple here and there, but not since we came to Nevada. But they had a good set of volunteers. Yeah, that's an issue. When we moved here, I was worried because I was told because I hadn't seen the place, right? I said, "Well, it's in town." What I didn't realize that in town here is no property can be less than an acre. So yeah, we're in town, but we're not close. We got one neighbor that's relatively close across there, but no complaints, even though they do get loud, don't you? But I can't leave them out here. They're not good at dealing with each other if I'm not around. So, are you, Cecil? He would chase them around. Pippa would kind of get lost as to what's going on, and suddenly, somebody tried to walk by her. She would think she was being attacked. Then you got a problem. Lucy is, once she gets her spot, she doesn't like anybody bothering her there. Jasmine just gets weird and bowls through other birds like they're not there. Bob's just Bob. He's a Triton, so anything can happen. Although he's been really good. He's good out here. He sucks inside though. You really don't. You can't have him out by himself inside. Well, with the others inside, you can have him out by himself. Not with the others. And as far as the injunction, you can, if they're going to have any kind of hearing on it, you can see if you can be there, um, or if you can organize some people to be there to stand up for the sanctuary. I'm sure the sanctuary will try to do that themselves, but
Mhm.
you missed that time. Good try, but you missed. He's the only one that targets me intentionally. Yeah, if I brought Lorelei out, you would stop? Probably not. I think you're set in your ways, man. So we have a spa day for these guys because they can't get what they need, which is working around rocks, breaking open um, nuts with their beaks, working on
Don, why have you muted yourself?
I didn't that I know of, but
You were suddenly gone,
yeah,
and we just heard the beautiful birdie sounds in the
it's
background where Spirit Matter suspects it might be a toucan call.
sometimes you get muted with this. I know other podcasters who use it, and sometimes you just end up muted. Um,
Yep.
but so we have these spa days because they can't get what they need. They can't crawl around on the dirt. If you see some of these cockatoos around mating season in Australia, I mean, they're all dirty because they've been digging around, getting stuff to make their nests and stuff. They're all covered in dirt. But, they fly from place to place and they land on things that are rough and they move. You see how they shuffle with their feet. That shuffle is good if you're going against something that's abrasive. It's going to wear those nails down. So they just naturally wear down to a base level. Once you get to a certain point, which is roughly 90 degrees, maybe a little less, 90 or 80 degrees, then they don't wear down anymore. So, and with the beaks, they're chewing on stuff. And the ones in captivity,
Have we lost Don again, or is it just me?
Yeah, that's strange since he doesn't look like he has been muted himself. So the seems on, but I cannot hear him anymore. So I hope you can still hear us, Don, and the people can hear us.
When I said earlier, oh, StreamYard is great, we have no problems with it, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, never do that. Never say something like, "Oh, I've never had problems with that platform."
I jinxed it.
Now the camera is off. Excellent. Uh,
Well, we can sing a song to keep the viewers entertained. What
yeah,
song?
if Don needs to, oh, he comes in with another account. Looks
Yeah.
like. Let's see. We can definitely focus it on the new Don.
Oh, Kristen says Don took his own spa day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took it during the
I
live
can
stream.
start a sugar video if you like, guys.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But there's Don. 1, 2, 3, Don. Can you hear us?
yeah, I said I lost my mic, and then the next thing I know, I was kicked out. So that's what I get for saying StreamYard's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just joked about it.
Yeah.
Don't tempt fate, right?
Oh dear.
That's
Technology, eh?
one podcaster I know who does an astrology podcast. He's into ancient astrology, and he decided to have somebody on there to talk about the planet Uranus, which is supposed to be the planet that causes like electrical disturbances. So he made sure that that was the focal planet, and then he lost all connection. It took him 20 minutes to get. Uh, so he didn't.
Oh no. Don? I can hear you. No, I cannot hear you again. Your your mouth is making motions, but I cannot hear you.
No, I can't hear him either. So is it Uranus to blame, or is it Mercury retrograde, or which one is it?
Commentators curse. Yeah, you're right, Calvin. And now the video stopped. Let's see, I play a video. What do we want to see? Which is funny. Sugar is always funny. Let's see.
Hi. 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 Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I
Hello.
guess we're mentioning a certain planet here too.
Yeah. That sugar video is so funny. Sunny was watching it and she was looking at it completely entranced. Like, what are those noises that she's making and how do I make them?
Yeah, it's a good wit. So, and I think people love to see it. So when Don is not available,
It's so
just let
cute. She's
Sugar
like,
do the
hi, and then brah,
work.
hi, brah.
Hello. Yeah,
Oh, has
it's
Sugar
definitely
come
acting up.
over?
Hi there, kid. What are you doing?
Has
You
Sugar
heard
heard?
yourself. She hurt herself, didn't she? Yeah, because
Oh, she heard herself.
yeah,
Oh,
she hurt herself. Yeah, because it knocked out my Bluetooth earbuds. What are you doing? She
that's
goes,
interesting. What they probably think about audio tapes about themselves. Now, Sugi, what have you said back then?
what's up, Chug? Hi. Hi, sugar. Hi. Bob's on my arm. I'll try to get over there to pet you. Hi, sugar.
At least we have you back. So a lot of commenters or chatters were already saying, so you have to go to lip read. And I was like, so please not. Would be probably funny when I start lip reading. I think I'm better in body language reading of the birds.
Well, I took sign language before I had birds, but I don't remember. I mean, I remember how to finger spell, and I remember some of the words, but um, it was fun. It's much more expressive than spoken language. But you're right. I mean, my hearing is nowhere near as good as it used to be. Right, Chig? Says it's not usually me that bothers your hearing, though. She doesn't do much in the way of squawking. She talks sometimes. She talks. It's more like talking when she does it, not less of the squawking. Aren't you, baby? When you do talk, you just talk.
So Giselle's Lisa also had some reaction to Sugar and Dawn saying hi. Hmm? Guys, you have a little fan out there. Shook shook bird. Shuggy knows she's awesome. Actually, lip reading is rather interesting. It's certainly a skill good to have. Probably hard to learn.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find a local vet to get their medication here. We have an address in California, one location in California, so we can get it there, but that's like a 12-hour round trip for Sugar and I, and that's not fun. I'll tell you one thing about the vets that I've dealt with in this area. I mean, we're talking about Vegas and here. They don't answer when you send them texts. They don't respond to phone calls. So I'm going to make up a list this week and just start calling local ones and saying, look, I know you don't deal with birds, but I just need to get some medicine. You are a veterinarian. You do care about animals, right? I mean, I'm not going to say it quite that way, but just to get the point across, there are some basics that I need, like meloxicam and Baytril I should always have on hand. The Haldol is critical. This one doesn't get Haldol, and she's not going to be around. She'll be gone shortly. So, and Jasmine's another mutilator. She'll start ripping her chest open if I don't have it. So. The other ones just won't look so cute. What? Cecil, what was that all about? Silly bird. Hi, sugar. Hi. What you doing? What you doing?
Maybe she wants her hear herself again.
Maybe.
Put that sugar radio channel on again. It said incredible things about fries. Gesundheit.
Delicious.
Yeah, it's dry out here today, about 1% humidity, so.
Mhm. So Kelly, no. Kristen and Kelly Cockatoo have a question for you. It's what about the avian vets here in Arizona? So do you have a special opinion if there, or do you know if there are good vets? Do you know someone specifically?
No, I don't. I know that they have a vet at Oasis who's a good avian vet. That much I know. The one they use is good, but I don't know them. In Vegas, there are no avian vets. There are what, three vets there that will see birds. I've tried to contact one we've been to see before twice now, and I'm about ready to give up on that and start calling other ones locally. Start non-avian vets who don't normally see birds and just try to convince them that they ought to help out the sanctuary. So we'll see what happens there.
All they need to do is write a prescription.
Yeah. Well, it's a controlled substance, and sometimes these guys they're scared of the federal government. Oh, it's the government. Um, what did V say in the movie? People shouldn't be afraid of their government. The government should be afraid of their people. But it works the other way. Oh, what if they think I'm doing this? I've got records. I mean, it's obvious they've got records at two vets it was three until Loudest moved out, but I could get that. So I've got records to show they need it.
Mm.
It's not a question. It's just when you move from state to state, you have these stupid federal laws that get involved.
Hmm. Giselle is saying, have you tried Chewy Pharmacy? I have used them for several years to deliver my dog's medication.
I'm going to see if I can, but the thing too is I still have to find a local vet to prescribe it. That's all I need, and then I can get it from Chewy. There's a number of other places too, but Chewy's good for that. And I buy, that's where I get our pellets from. So,
Mm.
um,
Because the issue is that he can't have a vet in California prescribe it and then fill the prescription in Nevada. That's not allowed. So he needs a vet in Nevada to prescribe it.
yep. Otherwise, I have to basically use we have a small, location in California, but so then I have to, it's just, yeah, it's just a pain to go pick it up. But
Mhm.
we can do it legally that way, but it's ridiculous. It's just, And if we were in Mexico, you just go right up to the pharmaceutical counter and say, "I need this," and they hand it to you. Oh, but we live, everybody says, "Oh, it's a free country." Well, in Mexico, I could just walk up and buy it.
Well,
So,
let's not get hung up on the politics because we're a 501c,
no,
remember?
no. I'm not. I'm just talking about the logistics. It doesn't make a lot. It doesn't make a lot of sense, right? I
Kristen
mean,
was asking for you because she was thinking maybe Arizona is closer to you than California.
it's still you're crossing borders, and when you do that, it's.
Mm, got it. And let's say hi to Jem and Jamie. No problem, you're late.
Can always catch up later if you so desire.
Hi, Jem and
Exactly. You
Jamie.
still you still can watch the bird shenanigans. And I'm not sure if I ever greeted Giselle properly. If not, I'm sorry. And here it is. Welcome, Giselle Loves New York. I know I already read a question from you, but I'm not sure if I greeted you publicly. Sometimes I get out of order where I stopped and where I have to begin again. Oh, Pippa is
Yes.
stopping now.
So basically, the reason we have to have a spa day is because they can't do their natural behaviors in the wild, which
Mm.
keep their nails and beaks trimmed. So
And especially with big birds, so it's sometimes rather complicated because with my budgies, also, I think I just had once to go to a vet with a budgie because of one claw, but usually they completely maintain it themselves. They get these kind of mineral stones and then a lot of branches and other stuff so they can chew and walk and whatever they need to do. It's funny sometimes in the morning or so when they do their morning spa, they also go to that mineral store and then you can see how they work on it with their beaks. Maybe with smaller birds who never were hand raised, and so that is easier to have than the larger ones.
yeah, if you put something like a cover bone in their cage or something, one of these big birds, they look at you like, "I'm not into decorating my environment. Why is that there?" They don't do anything with it.
Ah, that's a cockatoo thing. That's the funny thing with budgies. So you hang it in there and they seem to know instantly what it's for. So they go there and say, oh, beak shaving stuff, like,
I wish it
which
was
is
that
really
easy.
funny.
I wish it was that easy with these big guys, but it's not. That's my neck you're grabbing. You want me to pet you, so you're going to grab my neck. Okay.
He's grabbing the neck. Is it Bob?
Cecil. Cecil,
Cecil.
he's the one that's got he uses his foot to let me know when he wants to be petted.
Ah, right. That's him.
So all we can do is provide, better perches that, not those concrete ones that those tend to cause problems with their feet. So somebody does make a perch that's smooth on top and it's got the concrete feel to the side. Those are okay as long as you have them facing right. So the smooth part is on the bottom of their foot and their nails catch the other. They're a little hard to find online. I've looked for them, but they'll work. They're also a little heavy too, so you got to be careful. If your bars aren't strong, you could cause a problem with your cage too. So you need a strong set of bars to hold those concrete ones up. I definitely don't use one that's rough all the way around. That's not going to be good for them. Hi, hi, Bob. I got a Cecil over here, and he keeps grabbing my neck. It's going to be a little vampire.
Nutty birdies.
Bob, you're going to play with a stick? Hmm? I know, Cecil, I know. There's your buddy. There's your buddy, Cecil.
Sweetie pies. And preening paws.
You guys, you're such good birds. You're such good birds. Well, thanks everybody for being here. Don't forget we do have merchandise. You can get there by using our Linktree address, and you can start your morning with a Peaches cup like I do, or a Cecil cup, a Cecil mug. I see that mug quite frequently.
Mhm.
This mug right
And I
here.
think there should be some really cool Lorelei summer classes. So, I mean, you can take the drinking classes for every season, but
Mhm.
I think they look formidable for summer.
And after you've had your shower in the morning, you can dry off with a Peaches towel and then put on your bubbly boxers.
That's true. You can have a really cool life with the vlog if you want to. Oh, thank you, Falcons, is saying give these hooligans a like. Oh, we would be happy to have a like, a thumb up.
Okay, Peppa, you just had to come over and poop on me, didn't you?
Calvin, finally we have Triton trouble.
Finally.
Not really,
You,
just a
you
bit.
silly girl. You silly girl. Well, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Amy and Eleanor, for moderating. And
And thank
Peppa,
you
you want
all.
to have any final words for everybody, Pep? Peppa. There you go. All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Eleanor.
Bye bye.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
The Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.